Creativity will be maybe the vital 21st century talent. And we've provided lots of ideas and activities to stimulate that creativity. It can be as simple as colour blots.
Wow, what's that then?
Butterfly.
Shape collages encourage both creativity and shape recognition.
That's really lovely, Grace. I've really taken a long time and a lot of care and effort on that. It's really nice. Oh, there's a token here you can collect.
Notice that Grace's father gave her what we call an effort coupon. It's a wonderful way of acknowledging and encouraging persistence.
Oh, okay.
Making maps
That's
teaches
a
the
very
skill
good
of
map of your bedroom.
visualizing a scene from another viewpoint.
We're looking down on it from here, aren't we? It's like a fly, and you've got all the different bits that you've done. What's this here?
Door.
And what's this here?
Desk.
And what's this?
Chair.
And what have we got here?
Rack.
Your rack. Oh no, what's
Bench.
this? But what are they though?
Bookshelf.
But because we're up above, we can't see the one below, can we? So it
No.
only looks like one bed, doesn't it?
And the point of view doodle game encourages your child to visualize the world from different perspectives. Miming not only encourages imagination, it encourages your child to be able to recognize other people's emotions, and that's the first step to learning how to control any other emotion, anger or sadness.
Right, I want you to pretend that you're sad. What do you do when you're sad? That's it. What do you do when you're happy? And what sound would you make if you were afraid?
It's important that your child learns to enter someone else's feelings, to sympathize with another person's emotions.
When do you think you might feel really lonely?
When you've lost your friend.
When you've lost your friend?
And there's no one there.
And where might you be?
Just in the middle of the wood.
In the middle of a wood without a friend?
You know, or anybody.
Or anybody. So he looks as lonely as that? Yes. And how does she look there? She doesn't just look beautiful there. What else do you think her face tells you? Can you see this? What's this she's got in her hand?
Whip.
And, yes, and who's she whipping? Look, who is it that's pulling
The swans.
the swans? So, do you think she's kind?
No.
No?
Nasty.
Nasty? What's another word for that?
Cruel.
Cruel.
Drawing 4 circles and challenging your child to make different things out of them also encourages creativity. What else can you do, Alexander? Yeah, okay. Go on then.
Okay.
Great. Well done. We've also included a section in the guidebook that will enable you to teach your child to draw. I actually think that learning to draw is a thinking skill because it involves concentration, attention to detail, and making judgments and comparisons. But we've also made logical thinking a separate building block. Start teaching logic early with the 3-step process. Kathy, look, this is a blue one, this is a yellow one, this is a red one.
Yes.
Yes. Kathy, you point to the yellow one. Point to the yellow one.
Yeah.
Good girl.
Yellow.
That's a yellow one, isn't it? And what's that?
Green one.
Blue one, right.
Blue
Good
one.
girl.
Blue one.
That's a very simple, what we call 3-stage process for teaching. You lay them out and say, that's a yellow one, that's a blue one, that's a red one. Then you invite the child to point to the yellow one, and then you pick up one and say, what's this one? And she hopefully says, red one. Simple process for teaching colours, teaching almost anything. Incidentally, I do think it's important that fathers play reflective, quiet games with both girls and boys. If you look at the figures, you'll find that boys do less well than girls in the first few years of school. And I think one of the reasons is that fathers have traditionally played a lot more rough and tumble games with their sons, and that doesn't really prepare them well for school, which needs quiet, sitting down concentration. So don't stop the rough and tumble games, but do include some of the more quiet, reflective games, reading games, numeracy, and the sort of thing I did with Catherine just now.
Okay, what I'm going to do, Alexander, I'm going to lay these counters down in a pattern. You're going to tell me what the next one is. So the first one is 1. Second one is 1, 2, 3. So we've got 1, and then we've got 3, which is 2 more than 1. So how many should I have in the next line?
5.
1, 2, 3, and 2 more makes...
5.
That's right.
Okay, listen carefully.
Play logic
and
games
tell
like
me which one is
odd one out.
A horse, a cow, an ant, and a pig.
Ant.
Right. Now, why do you say ant is the odd one out?
Because he got 6 legs.
Or what we call the deduction game.
Little girl woke up. She rushed downstairs, looked around the room, and she was happy and excited.
Why?
Why do you think she was happy and excited?
Who was it?
It could have been you.
Did
Why
it
would you be...
Christmas Day?
See? That was easy, wasn't it? Right. If someone was hurt,
Yeah.
outside or
Could have been me.
inside, oh, it could be you, how would you know they were hurt?
Plaza.
It's important, especially with the influence of television, for children to be able to distinguish between what's fact and what's merely opinion. If I was to say a rose is a flower, is that a fact or an opinion? Is it always true or...
Fact.
Right, because it's always true. If I was to say that a rose is the prettiest flower, is that always true or is it just my opinion, just something I think?
Opinion.
Great, that's right. Here's another
bit odd,
logic game we like to play with the
Now
family.
these, this one, and this one, and this one, are called peewees. And they're special because they've got something that's always the same about them. So those 3 are peewees, and these 3 are not peewees. Okay?
Hmm?
Now you've got to see what you think it is that about them that makes them peewees. And I'm going to draw another one here, and you can tell me whether you think it's a peewee or not. So this creature here, do you think it is a peewee or it isn't a peewee?
Pee-wee.
Very good. Why is it a peewee? And why are these not peewees?
Because antennas.
Peewees have antennas.
Thinking doesn't usually get taught in school, so the responsibility really for good, clear, logical thinking is largely in your hands. The other thing is that thinking normally goes on silently in your head, and a child needs to both see and hear a structure, a model, if you like, of logical thinking to develop good habits. If I was going to discuss a really important decision with Alexander, I'd do this. I'd say, Alexander, what's for this idea and what's against it? Now, you see, very simply, he then has a chance to think through the positives, the negatives, and then make a reasoned decision. We all know that children are very impetuous, so it's important that they have an ability to slow down and think things through accurately. Best one I know of is this. It's think, plan, do, review. What do I mean? Well, think, what's the problem? It may not be what it seems. For example, have we seen a problem like this before? What can we learn from the past? So that's the think. Plan, let's make a plan. How many answers can we think of to solve this problem? And let's stop at the first answer. Let's keep going so we get some good answers. That's the plan. Now do. How shall we carry out what we've decided to do? What steps do we need to take? Maybe we need to make a list of them. Let's do. And review, that's important. After we've finished, how did it go? Let's see what we can learn from what we did last time. This think, plan, do, review is a very important, simple structure, and if you literally put it on a board or a piece of paper. Gradually your child will absorb the structure of thinking, which will eliminate impetuosity and will lead to clear, logical, critical thinking in later years.
I guess we all know that television can be a very passive way of passing time, but it can also be made to stimulate really valuable thought, merely by asking questions of the family. What was it about? Was it a good or a bad film? Why do you say that? Why did he behave like that? What will happen next?